You're listening to a Count Out Podcast.
And welcome to another episode of Your Dose of Death. I am Loren. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every single episode. We appreciate you guys listening and continuing to listen. It's really awesome. And thank you guys for all the support. And today I'm with someone who really is a man on the rise, someone who has really went from really a fan to now a ring announcer extraordinaire. This man you may have seen on the last volume of ICW No Holds Barred as the impromptu ring announcer and is making his way to the UK. This is a man who I am very honored to call a friend, someone I am really excited to see grow in the year of 2024. I'm with none other than the man himself, Bobby Banks. Bobby, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, Loren. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. This is a real treat, and this is the very first time.
Yeah, that's the big thing. This is your very first podcast you've been on. Hopefully not the last.
Hopefully not.
And Bobby, so I think really this is really an episode for people to get to know you because you really went from the guy looking very dapper ringside, traveling around the country for ICW No Holds Barred, ring announcing for ETU even, and just being around the wrestling scene to now you're ring announcing and you're getting to go ring announce across the pond. How has it been for you this last month or so? Because it's kind of been a whirlwind of a last month for you.
Oh gosh, it's been wild. You mentioned that I do ring announcing for ETU. It and stands for Expect the Unexpected. I have started to really take that to heart, that in the world of independent professional wrestling, you have to expect the unexpected. A lot of this, I had no idea what was going on. I still don't fully understand why things are happening the way that they are. I'm sort of a person who likes to think about the why of things. I don't know. I'm starting to get an idea about it. I don't fully understand why things are happening the way they are. But one thing is for sure, I am having a blast. I am having so much fun, and very thankful for that.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it also is a huge testament to your fans, the people that have supported you, and to everyone literally wanting you to ring announce. And now all of a sudden, here you are in the front and center. Literally, if you haven't watched the last volume of No Holds Barred, what number are we at? Was it 57?
57, yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's been 57 volumes of ICW. Where Danny DeMonto, he made the news, and unfortunately Jesse couldn't be there. And I love the line he had where he said, I didn't want to look outside. I wanted to look inside my circle, and literally called you up on a complete whim, a complete surprise to your surprise. What was your first reaction when Danny made that announcement?
Oh, shit.
That's awesome.
I had no idea that was going to happen. I knew that Jesse wasn't going to be there. Jesse, through working with ETU and working with Ryan, the struggles, I've been very fortunate to get to know Jesse, Righteous Jesse, and I'm honored to call him one of my best friends in the whole world right now. He's just such a great person. So I knew I had talked with Jesse, and I knew that Jesse wasn't going to be there. But I had no idea. I bought my ticket like I always do. You can see on the stream on IWTV. I've got the wristband.
Yeah.
On, where they give you the wristband when you come in the door. Another person that I'm a huge fan of is Rich Palladino.
Love Rich. Fantastic voice.
I love Rich too. There are a lot of great ring announcers in professional wrestling.
There is.
Rich is one of my all-time favorites. And it's because I watched a lot of wrestling growing up as a kid, especially NWA in the earlier days of my childhood, and then WCW. And there was a guy, a ring announcer by the name of Gary Michael Capetta.
I've kind of heard that name.
That did the ring announcing for WCW back in the day. And there's something about Rich Palladino that just sort of reminds me of Gary Michael Capetta. And so when he gets in there and does his thing, it brings me back to my childhood. And I thought it was going to be Rich.
I thought it was going to be Rich too.
Rich has done it before, and
Yes.
I think Rich will be doing it again, hopefully here soon.
In Boston, hopefully.
Yeah. And I thought it was going to be Rich, and people were coming up to me, Marty. I call him
Party
main
Marty.
event Marty. Yep, main event
Marty.
life of the party. He came up to me and was like, Bobby, are you ring announcing today? And I was like, no, I think it's going to be Rich. But no one could find Rich or anything like that. And then, the show starts and I'm getting pumped up. I'm getting ready. I love ETU. Don't get me wrong. My heart is with ETU and will always be with ETU, but there is something special about ICW No Holds Barred that always gets me to another level, always gets me pumped up. And so I was getting pumped up, ready for the show, and then Danny gets in the ring, and he said what he said.
Yeah.
And I looked up at Ryan in the crow's nest there.
The crow's nest. That's what it's called. The crow's nest. Okay.
Yeah, the crow's nest. I looked up at Ryan and Jack, and I was like, what in the hell is going on here? And Ryan sort of made a gesture to me to go do it. Get in the ring.
Oh, struggles.
And I turned to my right. Another guy, a kid that I really like a lot. He's a special person and an excellent chef too, by the way.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I call him Jimmy Wayne, junior referee, Jimmy Wayne Deacon, aka
Jimmy Wayne Deacon. The Peacock.
Jimmy. I turned to Jimmy and I was like, what in the hell? I was same thing. What? And he said, he's telling me to get in the ring. So I did. I went up and got in the ring, and Danny said what he said, and
whispered in your ear the match.
It makes my heart, it makes my chest, it makes my heart pound. It's been a while now, and I'm still thinking about it. And I as you can tell, it still makes me nervous and is making my blood flow just thinking about what happened.
I wanted to talk though. I want to compliment you because there's the first line you had when you first had the mic. I know you had to calm your nerves down a little bit, and I absolutely love the line. If I paraphrase, I apologize. Where you're just like, "Today is a good day to be alive." I've seen no ring announcers start with that, and the boundless positivity that came from that line. Like, I got a serotonin boost when you said that. I was so surreal, and I'm just like, I put on Twitter and I was like, hard work does in fact pay off, and you are the testament to that. And I mean, how is it from like being in the ring? I mean, you see all the stuff around you, so you're like, I just got to make sure I do my job and get out. How was it like getting in and getting out of the ring for you? Just curious.
Hard getting in the ring at ETU. I've had some practice getting in and out.
Yeah, of course.
For ETU. It was a trial by fire. No one ever. I wish someone had sort of given me lessons to begin with. No one gave me any lessons, and I didn't know. I'd never been in a wrestling ring, or at least not in a very, very, very long time. And I took some bumps getting out of the ring. If you look at the first couple of ETU shows that I did the announcing for, getting out of the ring is a lot harder for me, at least, than getting in. And I took some bumps getting out in those earlier ETU shows, but I've since sort of figured out a good way for me to do it.
Oh, good.
The chains, though, are much, much different.
Oh, I bet.
The whole show is different. It was not like announcing for ETU. It was totally different. I am a little shocked that I did as well as I did, because it was hard. It was really hard. Things are a much different pace.
Yes.
It's more fast paced. And especially when you're at H2O, they have a fantastic sound system.
They do. I love everything about the H2O Center.
So Dr. Redacted music hits, and out comes this maniac, Dr. Redacted, and I'm immediately terrified, because I always, first and foremost, I will always be a fan of professional wrestling. And so I can't help but lose myself. Even when I am doing a job, like ring announcing, there's a significant part of me that is lost in the sauce, so to speak.
Love it.
I get lost in the sauce of professional wrestling. I lose my mind, and it's real to me, damn it.
I've actually met that guy a few times. He's actually from like the Midwest. He's from like Indiana. He actually comes out to Chicago a lot. So I've seen him actually a couple GCW shows. So pop for that line. But yeah, it's really cool though. Like I've always said on here, like I'm a fan first of wrestling. Yeah, I do this podcast. Yeah, I am filming ringside now for some promotions, but I'm always a fan. Like if you're not a fan first, like sometimes I ask, what are you even doing here? Like, if you're not a fan of the product, if you're not a fan of what's happening inside the ring, like you don't have as much of a connection. And I mean, it's not easy to still do your job, but I mean, you did a fantastic job, man. Like I can't say enough. First time ring announcing for ICW, really bring a good energy. I mean, you've always been a fan. Like we've always been in the same circles fan wise, just seeing you interact as well as seeing me interact, and just seeing you get to do that. It's just so surreal. I do want to get to something that I think a lot of people have a heavy interest in, and that is your relationship with Krule, because you have an interesting relationship with Krule. That man has put title belts on your shoulders at times. And out of all the people that man has interacted with, it's like you're the Krule whisperer almost in a way. So I need you to elaborate on your intriguing, to say the least, relationship with one Mr. Krule.
That story is an interesting one, and it's probably not what people think. The story is much simpler than a lot of people probably imagine it to be. We just got done saying how we are first and foremost fans. I'm a big believer in being or becoming who you are, being who you are, or if you're not there yet, the process of becoming who you are is really important to me. And so I think I would go a step beyond saying that I am first and foremost a fan. That's really the essence of who I am. No matter what I'm doing, no matter where I am, be it ringside, be it on Twitter. I get carried away on Twitter sometimes.
We all do. We all do.
Or if I'm in the ring announcing, that's who I am, and I can't help but be that person. That is the story of how I came to get to know my personal Lord and Savior, the atrocity Krule. I think, you know, a lot of people, one of the great things about Krule is when he first comes out and you're there, you don't immediately know what to make of him. I mean, he is a near 7 foot tall, inconceivable horror. You know, he's like a walking horror story. And you don't know what to make of him. And I had that experience too. Krule wrestles all over, not just for ICW. He's wrestled a lot down here in North Carolina for a promotion called DPW, Deadlock.
Oh yeah, Deadlock Pro.
Pro Wrestling. I've been to almost every Deadlock show. I don't go in my suit or anything. It's just,
you're incognito there.
Yeah. That's a funny thing about me is I only wear the suits outside of the state of North Carolina where I live. I think I wore a suit one time when I was supposed to go to Jersey and my plane got canceled, and I was pissed off that I couldn't go to Matt Tremont's Deathmatch tournament. But anyway, Krule comes out of the curtain. You know, that music hits. The music is terrifying. Krule is terrifying. And as a fan, you're trying to figure out, you know, what is this monster, this atrocity, this heathen? And I think a lot of people's first reaction is to be afraid of Krule. Or yeah, and I think that is a natural reaction.
Yep, I would agree with that.
And this is very key to the story of how Krule and I you know, sort of became friends and became associated with one another. I have never really been afraid of Krule. I don't know why. I have always been drawn toward him. In some cases, monsters like that in professional wrestling tend to be typecast as heels.
Yes.
And Krule to me has always been the biggest babyface. It has a lot to do, and I won't go into full detail about, you know, who I am and my experience of the world, but there's something about Krule that just really, you know, really provides fulfillment for me as a person. You know, when I'm at a show and I'm screaming, "All will burn," you know,
that's iconic. That's iconic to this point.
It feels good, and I feel good every time I see Krule, and he noticed that. And I think there was a DPW show one time where, you know, he was being Krule, and normally, especially in DPW, the role of Krule is to scare the crowd.
Yeah, of course.
Like I said, I've never been scared of him. I've always been drawn toward him. There's something in my soul that you know, Krule has possession of, in a sense, and he has always sort of drawn me closer. That's real. It's very real. And he came over at the DPW show. He came out and he was scaring the fans, you know, like he normally does. And he came over to me and got right in my face, like like he normally would. But I could not, I could not be scared. Like even if I wanted to be, because I can't be anything other than myself as a fan. And so I got really into it. I was like, yeah, Krule, kill them all. I think it's what I screamed. And I was looking right into his eyes when I did it. And there was just a very strong connection there. And there's been a very strong connection ever since. I have not spoken a lot to Krule. I've not gotten to know Krule very well at all. It's always been sort of a relationship between a fan, me, and someone who I believe in all of professional wrestling is iconic. I've never I've never seen anyone like Krule in person on television. Krule is special. And I am his biggest fan. That's the story.
That's
That
the
is
story.
something that
There you
happened
have it.
organically. It happened organically. I think I remember a key moment for me was, remember when he came out beside the fire.
Oh yeah, I think it was in Michigan. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, that
maybe
was
Michigan.
terrifying. Maybe Michigan.
Um, it was one of those. Trying to remember, like the Deathmatch Circus. Maybe it
Yes,
was
it was a deathmatch circus.
like 27 or 28. One of
Not
those.
sure the number, but I do remember it was
But
the
he came.
circus.
I do remember that was sort of when the whole Kirk's and Krule story was really starting to
Mhm.
get uh get juiced up, and he came out beside that fire, but sort of out of the cornfields. I think I remember Ron Neiman saying
Yes.
something like that, and I was hooked. Krule at that moment, Krule sort of became my personal Lord and Savior. Uh,
Love
and
it.
there's no one in professional wrestling that I love more than Krule.
Well,
The
there
attraction.
you have it. Like that's it's as organic as it gets. I love to hear these stories because there's always different stories in wrestling how people become fans and friends. I mean, to me, Krule is such a huge enigma. He is an enigma. I love my enigmas in professional wrestling.
You mentioned him putting the belt on me.
Yes,
I think that was
that was one of the A Center shows, I believe.
I think it may have been 50 where it was like 147
Yes.
47 degrees in there.
Oh boy, yeah, that place can
Um,
get hot.
I had no idea that was going to happen. Anytime Krule has put the belt on me, he did it in Chicago one time. Um, I had no idea that was going to happen. The thing that makes it work on IWTV when it does happen is the fact that I am so lost in being a fan. I guess that is something about me that is kind of special. Is I am really good at losing my mind completely. I'm really good at losing myself in the show and just forgetting the rest of my real life, and it's that is something that is so wonderful. Perhaps the most wonderful thing about professional wrestling is it
I
allows
agree.
escape our everyday lives. And but anytime Krule has put that belt on my shoulder, I've had no idea. uh this is a shoot, as they like to say.
Yes, sir.
Can't believe I said that. But I have had no idea that he is going to do it. Um, and every time it's been something really special. So
I mean, it's really cool. And now you both get to go across the pond to the UK in a few weeks' time. Have you ever been out of the country, first of all? I'm just curious.
no, not really.
This is your first trip out of the country.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I went on a cruise with my
Okay.
parents down to like Puerto Rico and
Okay.
the Caribbean islands and stuff. But that was gosh, I'm so old now. That was like 30 years ago.
Wow.
But no, I've never been to Canada. I am speaking of Canada, real quick. I would love to go to Canada. The Canadian wrestling fans, I've seen them on the IWTV.
Yes,
They're they're phenomenal.
they are.
And that's one of the things that I am most excited about going to England, going to the UK. The fans over there are wild, and
They are
I can't
wild.
wait to meet
You're
each and
gonna
every
be
one
getting
of
a
them.
ring announce for them too. Like that's the craziest thing. Like not only are you going as a fan, but you're getting to ring announce worldwide. Like we gotta put Bobby Banks worldwide on a T-shirt or a graphic or something because truly it is so crazy in the past month. And as Danny said when he put your graphic up for the UK trip, it was just like let's make more memories. What has your relationship been like with Danny D'Amato over your time as a fan with ICW?
Oh gosh. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is love. I love Danny DeMonto. Danny is a very special person. Um, there are a lot of things about Danny that remind me of me. There are a lot of things about Danny that, where we're different. But Danny's got some things about him that remind me of me. And he's not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. Danny makes mistakes.
Of course.
That is actually something that makes my love for him stronger. Because in a sense, and this is something that I've been wanting to sit down with Danny and talk to Danny about.
Uh-huh.
I hope we're going to have a chance to, grab a bite to eat, and so I can talk to him about this. But in a sense, he has helped me love myself a whole lot more. I've struggled with that, accepting myself for who I am and loving myself, and seeing Danny both in the ring and out of the ring as a promoter and as a friend has really helped me with me in a lot of ways. But yeah, I love Danny DeMonto, and will always love him.
That's awesome. I mean, it's really awesome that someone has helped you out. Like, it's not only helped them become better, but it's helped you become better as well. And I think, again, wherever we can find that source of inspiration, so be it. But I mean, he has helped you literally. I mean, you've been traveling the country with ICW No Holds Barred. You've been to Chicago. You've been to New Jersey. You're going across the pond, meeting new people along the way. And I mean, yeah, you said the UK fans, they are crazy. I mean, I know there was a couple of them trying to get me to come over as well. And I'm like, you're going to need to give me a GoFundMe because, brother, as much as I love to, it's just the time's not now, but I am going to enjoy those shows on IWTV when they air. What's something you're looking forward to when you go over to the UK, other than the fans, of course?
I'm looking forward to meeting all the fans first and foremost. I'm really looking forward to seeing the wrestling itself. Um, Even when I am announcing, and this might make me, uh, this might take away from my ring announcing
Uh-huh.
abilities. I try not to let it. I want to be as professional as possible and do as good of a job as possible. But if I'm at a show, I'm sorry, but I have got to watch the show.
Yeah, of course.
I've got to be a
That's
fan.
understandable.
And I will be watching the shows, even the ones that I am a part of. I will be watching those shows. I am really looking forward to seeing the wrestlers and seeing the style. I think there is a very special, unique brand of professional deathmatch wrestling that is characteristically British,
Yeah.
and I am excited about seeing British deathmatch wrestling.
I've always preached on here the UK deathmatch scene from Bleeding Gums Wrestling getting off the ground, which, by the way, if you haven't watched that show, go watch it on IWTV. Fantastic stuff from them. I'm really excited for the deathmatch tournament they're going to put on in a few months. To Rise, really one of the standouts, TNT, to Kumite. They really have a lot. And these UK shows, like, I'm thrilled for you to get to see that because I've been preaching that scene for the last year. Games of Death is like one of the premier deathmatch tournaments in the world. I mean, that is and if you look at the field for this year's Games of Death, this is an unbelievable field. I mean,
Oh, you're giving me goosebumps just talking about it. I'm
it's
looking
really
forward to it.
cool. And I mean, the matchups look really awesome too. I mean, from the non-tournament matches, you got Danny and Clint Margera in a non-tournament. You got Krule in this one. You got Abdullah Kobayashi, the legend himself,
Mhm.
to the trilogy match with Michael Caine and Big F and Joe, which has been years in the making. Darko, a fan favorite as well. the opportunities are endless for this tournament, but also just Brit Death in general. This is a big platform for them. This is a huge working. You don't see many, or maybe like two American death match promotions working with the UK death match promotion, bringing together some quality content.
Yeah, there's so many great matches. I mean, you mentioned some of it. I love Danny Darko. I
Darko's great.
got to see him at Faces of Death the weekend that I went to. That's another thing is that, me going to ICW shows, it was supposed to be a one-off. It was never really planned for me to go to just about every one of them. I missed 51 because I had COVID, but
Oh yeah.
I hadn't had COVID, I would have been at every one since 43.
Wow. It's
I
really
went to
since
43
Okay.
and uh and it was Danny, and I met SPO at 43 and got a chance to talk to him a little bit, and he really sold me on 44 and 45 going to New Jersey and Faces of Death, and
Yeah.
instead of going out west, I think it was out west for WrestleMania.
Yes, it was in LA.
So I went to 44 and 45, and then I think 46 was rolling with the punches, where they were supposed to go overseas, but something happened. And they
Yes.
couldn't.
Yes, you're correct.
So I went to 46, and then it was sort of off to the races from there. Then I had to go to Chicago. I think that was 47, and
That was 47.
it just kept rolling from there. You mentioned Clint. I am really looking forward to meeting him.
One of my favorite people in the world. If he listens to this, he damn well
I hope
knows.
he does listen to this. Clint Bobby Banks is coming to the United Kingdom, and he is looking forward to meeting you.
I also, on this very podcast called, I predicted a match that was going to happen during the UK week, and I predicted Clint Margera versus Atticus Kogar.
Well,
And Danny booked it like the next day after I posted the episode.
Well, wrestling fans, that is the match that I am looking forward to seeing the most. I like to when ICW does those things, pick your fight of the night.
Yeah.
That is my pick for fight of the whole weekend. I am really looking forward to seeing Clint Margera versus the last nail.
It feels weird calling him that because I'm always used to the Silver Teeth Satan. Now he's the last nail.
Last nail.
Man,
Margera versus Atticus Kogar is going to be.
I don't know if that would be my match of the weekend. I had this just weird feeling about Big F and Joe and Michael Caine just gonna tear the house. And I know it's only the first round games of death, but there's so much story. I love good stories in deathmatch wrestling. I think they
Me too.
take this. I think they take the stakes of what should be a simple match to a different degree. And the fact that those two have a win over each other, and this is the third one in a huge weekend where there's a ton of people going to be watching. The platform is as big as it gets for both of them. I mean, Big F and Joe has been a big platform for years. Michael Caden is someone I really think has all the potential in the world. And I think that could just be fireworks with those two.
I'm looking forward to that one too. For me, my fights of the night and my matches of the weekend are often different than most people's.
Yeah.
I'm also really, really, really looking forward to Danny DeMonto versus Clint Margera.
That's gonna be really fun.
The reason why is I like to have my emotions played with, and sometimes I connect with certain wrestlers, like Danny, for instance. Danny is very effective at pulling at my heartstrings. In fact, there's no feud that I've been into more than the feud that he had with Atticus Kogar recently.
Yeah.
I was brought to the point of tears at one point over that. Krule's story about getting the IWTV championship back, I'd have to put that at the very top of the list in terms of emotional moments for me. People in Worcester will tell you I was bawling. I was a mess after that victory. I was just, crying a lot. But Clint Margera is someone who really pulls at my heartstrings. Atticus Kogar, in the worst way possible. does it too. I am, to this day, whether it's in the back or whether he's in the ring, I am physically uncomfortable around him.
Atticus, yeah.
Yes, he is. There's something about
He
him that,
pushes people to the edge of their seats in the best and worst ways.
yes, and I love that. I wouldn't have it any other way. That is what to me makes professional wrestling so wonderful. But
Yeah, professional
that's what
wrestling,
I'm looking
it's
forward to
different
that
for
match.
everyone. And I think I know the last sub UK shows, I was so invested, and it's, by the way, free on YouTube if you want to check out the Iceman and his son. That match was gross on so many levels. But if you want to talk about, Iceman is an absolute legend. I mentioned it on the episode with Mike that I'm begging American promotions to bring Iceman over to the States, please and thank you, and his son for that matter. But those two are just machines. They are
Think about
machines.
think about Iceman versus Tank.
Oh, I
Think
need
about
that. I need that.
think about that.
They're just two legends. Like that's like a dream match that came out of some wacky Discord for all we know. And if someone made that happen, I'd be very happy with that.
Iceman is another one I'm really looking forward to seeing.
One of the
I'm
best entrance themes. I'm sorry, I had to say that. I love his entrance theme. I just bounce every time I hear it too.
I've been watching more of him and learning more about him, getting ready for the trip, and aggressively atheist is that's another thing I like to do is come up with my own. I always do what they ask me to do in terms of
Yeah, of course.
ring announcing, but I have always enjoyed sort of inventing my own ring announcements.
Yeah.
And for him, it would be something like aggressively atheist. He is pissed off at Jesus.
I love it.
The
I love it.
grandfather of British deathmatch wrestling, Iceman.
Well, that's gonna
Yes,
sound real.
I
That's
would
gonna
do
sound real
something
good
like
on a microphone. That's gonna sound real
I
good.
would do something like that for him. But of course, I always do what they ask me to do. But I like to
Yeah,
come
of
up with
course. But
fun,
I love
funny,
when people get creative. It makes them stand out.
yeah. I can,
But
so,
yeah, I mean the UK stuff is gonna be really fun for you, especially because it's like literally your first time going out of the country in a long, long
mhm.
time. It's
Well,
just the
really, my
fans
first
are
time
not.
ever
Yeah,
as an adult.
yeah, and it's just cool seeing you get these opportunities. I think to kind of end this one though, really, what are your expectations, or maybe something that you're looking forward to for the rest of 2024, aside from, of course, the UK? What is something that you yourself are looking forward to for the rest of this year?
Oh, that's a good question. Something I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to going back to Chattanooga. Um, the world famous TWE Arena. I am very close with the Hales family.
Uh huh.
Mike Hales meant
Papa Hales,
mhm,
love
has
Papa
meant a lot
Hales.
to me just in terms of my personal journey. And I love him, and Dylan too. Love Dylan. I'm looking forward to seeing them, but I am very hopeful that I will get to announce a show in Red Bank there at the world famous TWE Arena. I think that would be really cool. Um, let's see other things I'm really looking forward to. ETU in 2024 is going to explode. Uh, we I mentioned Ryan a little bit. The motherfucking struggles. Shout out to the
Shout
struggles.
out to Sensei Shrugs.
Um, he is a genius. He's got a lot of wisdom too, but he's also a creative genius. He's a genius when it comes to professional wrestling.
Uh huh.
And I don't know if a whole lot of people can understand yet what he is putting together with ETU. But in 2024, I think people are going to start to see it. Sometimes Struggles is crazy in a good way. And he's got some of those really good, crazy ideas that I think we're going to see come to fruition in 2024. If you're out there listening to this podcast and you're wanting to look for, something that could really become something special, if you're wanting to see the best independent professional wrestling that the East Coast has to offer, keep your eye on ETU in 2024. I personally am very much excited about what will happen this year in ETU. And I really think the sky is the limit for ETU and for the Struggles. And I can't wait to see what happens. And as always, you really should, with ETU, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, Tatum, that's a horror. I think it's really cool to see. ETU is really blowing up. That is a promotion I definitely going to watch more of. I have watched here and there, but I saw the Marcus Mathers Ken Broadway death match though.
Yes,
And that
one
was
of the best death matches I've ever seen.
That is a fantastic match. It was
It
story driven well, but it also just you don't see Marcus Mathers doing death matches much, and understandably so. The guy's a star no matter what he's doing. The seeing Ken Broadway swing a light tube that vicious though, that is an image that lives rent free in my head.
Ken is phenomenal, and fans of deathmatch wrestling are going to want to tune in on March 3rd at the Mecca, the world famous Mecca, in Richmond, Jersey. Ken Broadway will be in action against the owner and sole proprietor of ICW No Holds Barred, Danny D'Amonto.
That's going to be fireworks, brother.
And it's going to be a goddamn death match.
At the Mecca, too. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bob, this has been an incredible conversation with you. Thank you so much for making the time for me to come on this. I know this has been your very first podcast. Hopefully, more to come in the future. And I always like to do this with every one of my guests, but is there anything you want to plug away, like your socials or anything like that? The floor is yours to promote yourself here on this very podcast. So plug away, promote away.
There's nothing that I have. I'm Bob X Banks on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter. It's BOBX Banks, BANKS, BOBX BANKS on all platforms. You can send me an email, bobxbanks, actually, at gmail.com. You can reach me on anything. But if I could plug anything, I would plug ICW No Holds Barred and ETU. And I just am starting to think about Danny and Ken, what they're going to do to each other. It's going to get rough.
It's going to get rough.
Yeah.
Well, there you heard it here from the man himself, Bobby Banks. Thrilled to have had you on. Wish you all the best going to the UK. You're going to have an incredible time there and all your future endeavors as well. We're so thrilled for you. So congratulations on everything, Bobby.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you guys heard from the man himself, from myself, from Bob. We will see you on the flip side, everybody.
This has been a Count Out Podcast.